All right. It is showtime. It is showtime. It is showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Nigerian Pro League. It is the rain split. It is season 8, and it is the last day of the survival stage. The bottom four teams today will be eliminated for the end from the MPL. They have tried their absolute best. They've done everything they could do, but that final they just cutting it, and this is going to be the cost of that. But before we head into the games, I would run through the leaderboard from yesterday's matches just to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown of what we will be expecting in the final day of the survival stage. I mean, it tells you a different story every time you look at the leaderboard. OD had an amazing game yesterday, 49 points to the good. Remember, this is all important inside of that grand final race. If you did not do good enough in the Super Weekend, this is why the survival stage exists, to give you those points, to help you, to push you through to the next stage. Dark Knights, 31 eliminations, no chicken dinners, but that puts them still in second place. Lewick, again, turning up, and 4 portions as well. Dream Team also in that top 5, and in sixth is COB. COB that got written off. Here they are performing, and that I saw a little glimpse of the COB that I saw in the playoffs. That was the COB I saw, and I was very, very impressed with how they handled that last game of the night. But Darkness is still the MVP and is leading the charge as well. Danger is also in the mix from AOD. Ace from 4 portions is also in there. Luik have user in the mix, and Jay is the one. Jay is the one that will try to lock things up. But it is not over just yet, ladies and gentlemen. The NPL continues tonight. This the survival stage. It is a party, and even better party. The plane is in the air. Match number one, or rather, match number 5. The last day of the survival stage. This is where it all ends for some teams. This is where they start making their research into what the fans' favorite will be saying. Fans' favorite. That's the conversation some of these teams will be having right now. Again, a little bit towards that bottom of the leaderboard. I didn't have the time to cover that, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that that would be something. I'll tell you that. That would be something special. That would really be something special. But again, looking at how it pans out, play zone is good, or rather playing path is good. Cuts a little bit towards that central position from the north. All the apps from the north to the south. Whose dreams will be cut short today? I think I did see on Solid Army dangling by the foot there. We're going to see the live standings any moment from now once the feed is up. But again, interesting playing path. We've got a little bit more central, feeds everyone. Interestingly, nobody is going to military base. I would expect Neon Rising to be there, or the guys from COP, but not the worst thing in the world. Unfortunately, COB playing as 2 disadvantage to them though, because they're going to be landing around a lot of teams that are in a complete squad. Now we will see what exactly we are looking at. And now, Flex getting a little bit iffy here. I think they should be enjoying Yasnaya, seeing as current NPL champions and 11 XTC are not to be found. They have already qualified to the finals of the rain split. But the job is not yet done. Vortex sitting in 10th. Not too far away from Neon Rising. Neon Rising just outside. Ragnar as well. Unsullied Army also outside of the top 12. And that is not what one would expect to come out of this. We will see. Right now, Unsullied Army in the front foot in the corners that they've seen here. Proportions could have an idea of their own if they could, turn this into something special. They are sitting in a very, very good spot in that top four position. It's not the easiest position to hold. They have held it pretty nicely, if you ask me. Could be still a ways to go. Neon Rising not off start yesterday. But if they do not make the finals, it is going to be very, very uncomfortable day for them. Vortex could keep things very lively here. 37 points to 49 between AOD and Dark. That is a 12-point deficit. AOD doing everything by the lonesome. There's still a lot of ground to cover out there as well. Also sitting in that top seven. Could be more better. PlayStation 0, PlayStation 2, played with Souls, or in the mix. DS1 currently sitting in the top 12 in 12th spot. DS1 was one of the other teams struggling throughout the. I don't think they played any Super Weekend, right? I don't think they had. Yeah, they did not play in any Super Weekend. But now they have the opportunity to actually still make it into the finals. Still a lot of road to be done here. Dream Team also finding their footing. 29 points to the good in the top 5. Doesn't get any better than this. And I would still like to know, though, you know? All right, so let me take a look at the chat and see what you guys are saying in the chat. Jay is the MVP. Yeah, Jay's an MVP. I mean, he got like what 3 elims or 4 elims in 4 games. That's pretty okay, I guess. Was it 4 or was it 7 elims I saw? Can't remember what I saw, but Berserker. Yeah, Berserker. Berserker or Beekeeper? I thought it was Beekeeper, right? For Neon Rising. Also, 3 Crown Esports playing at full strength. Currently sitting in 9th. Again, the distance between them and DS1, it's only 7 points. You gotta be wary about those teams in the bottom 4. Neon Rising down to Vanguard Esports because DS1 could be in some serious danger here. Prothletes as well. They need to start to extend that gap, extend it even farther between themselves and the bottom 4. Unfortunately for COB, they do not start today as they mean to go on, but they do have a cushion. They do have a solid cushion to work with. If they can get themselves into the finals, that would be very impressive. First time in the first time in a final, in a range split final. It is already an achievement in of itself for a first timer. How many teams here would be first timers in the range split finals though? I think DS1 also and Ragnar. I think Ragnar, yeah. No, Ragnar, yeah, this would be their first final. I think did they make the final last year? I think actually did. But it would be interesting though if they could do more game inside of this split if they get into the finals. I mean, it will take a lot from them. This is another team that did is really good. I think Super Weekends finishing up a chicken dinner quite nicely in the first run, but let's see if they are going to remain consistent with it. But right now, AOD have been very, very proactive. Imagine a scenario where AOD and a team like Neon Rising just start, dropping on each other or something like that. Oh, that would be a sight. That would be a major sight. He's on the prize red list, but Neon Sup Rising. I mean, they might drop 15 in this game. You never know. Although they're not playing from the south, so that's going to be a little bit more difficult. They play much better from the south, and I don't think they are there right now. So we're going to see. Unsullied Army as well. This is a good spot just outside of Rozok. If they can keep this position, this could be very, very crucial for them. But they're not necessarily the strongest team when it comes to playing out of splits. Solid Army it's not really a play style to split around and play, positionally across areas like this. It would be ideal, much more ideal for them to just, hang around, play the cover, maybe play a 3-1, but still have the one not up front, just behind to cover those spaces at the back. We'll see what they will decide to do here. The players are making the choices for them. Zone is in the southwestern side, and it will be closing up any minute from now. No early eliminations, no bodies dropped just yet, and you can understand why. It is the last day of the survival stages. Four teams. Four teams on the bench, or rather, four teams will be on the bench going into the last stage, the finals of the rain split next Tuesday. Again, the play zone has shifted. Dark Knights in a very, very promising position. Dream Team as well, a little bit more central. AOD in the south. Neon Rising. Can't seem to find where they are though. Neon Rising, where could they be? I would expect them to be in the south right now, like Primorsk. If they could make their way there without getting, surrounded or surprised, it could work something out. Ragnar also in that northwestern side. COB also coming in from the north. Unsullied Army, Vortex, all of them trying the same thing, but it looks like Neon Rising and 3 Crown Esport locked horns. Wizard gets a drop on Nexus again. Nexus falls now over to the other side. Devil falls as well. Neon Rising in trouble for 3 Crowns right now. They are causing chaos, so much chaos. Two bodies dropped away there for 3 Crown Esports. 3 Crown will lose yet another. And things are going from bad to worse. 3 Crown Esports down to just 2 man. Piccolo was able to get a drop on this one, and also did get dropped in the process. But now the assault is on. Here they go again, and he tried to pop through. Piccolo goes down a second time. A grenade just for the measure. Vanguard Esports could be the ones that they're trying to close this down. Vanilla's in the back end. Ned, 1 HP. Surely he'll be here. Practice the first touch, but not this time. Torrid with the final blow. Prothletes will go out. The first team back into the lobby. And that is not how they wanted to start the day at all. Looks like Neon Rising are going to be on the receiving end of something here. Beekeeper spots the opposition on the other side. DS1 able to cause a little bit of commotion there to force things out. Foul play. Also setting their own sights on 4 portions, and they did manage to get one out. Aimbot as well, also a second. Might be getting knocked off as well. And that will be some protection. Vortex will snatch it away. And now the bodies have started to drop. Ooh, water spray from Souls. And what a finish as well. Vortex will bite the dust yet again. Another one goes down. And Play with Souls is very active. QBZ with a 4 times on top. And he's going to stay locked in regardless. Packing it all the way up. Foul play. Now that is something drastic could, come out here. But I think with the way foul play have started, I think they win. I think they win this game. Oslo says, funny how there was a team called YT. Yeah, Young Thundercats. Those guys, yeah. Young Thundercats. Right? That was their name or something like that. I mean, that name was Cheeks, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Young Thundercats. And the Thunder wasn't even Thunder. It was Thunder with an A. Yeah, that name was Cheeks, dog. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna hold nobody. That name was Cheeks. But hey, who am I to judge? Loic, top 3, top bins. They have been looking very, very good in this survival stage, but somehow, over the course of the tournament, they've just been struggling. 4 portions as well. This could be their bye-bye from the top 4. After this performance, Regioso will be the last one left. Ace, Aimbot, and Roman. Unfortunately, just couldn't hack it in. Harsh Esports are now setting their sights on Dream Team. And looks like Sad has been knocked away. Foul play in that area. They could get a piece of that. But we are going to see. COB, this is a really massive amount of real estate that just the two of you are planning to hold, though. It's a lot of real estate. Ragnar also holding it out. Again, when you play like this, when you are a full squad, not a lot of intel, it hurts you in the long run. It really does. DS1 now setting their sights onto Hashi Sports. It looks like Monkey is going to be caught out, but I don't think they can deal the final blow from this distance. But a couple of players from Hashi Sports, we're going to find the right-hand side to cause some more chaos there. Plays it already on the roofs, and Ronu gets the drop on Lilo. DS1. Again, that is the cost. It is a major cost that will be paid time and time again when you don't have the intel. It will hurt you and time again. And Marcelo has been hurt. Dark Knights will now be pulling into that engagement. They want the piece of this, and they will be circling it back. Playing to the other side again. Sorcery tried to hold it through, but didn't work out. Lilo still knocked away, still crawling, looking for a way down, but can't seem to find it. Now has been told to relax again. Big spray from Luxy, and that was almost enough to them to rethink their positions again. Harsh Esports looking for a way to close this down and close it down very quickly. Dark Knights also getting into the mix of things. Luxy has been Dream Team now wanting a piece of it as well. They're trading blows. Toxic tries over for the western side. He's taking hits as well. Abubakar is looking for that space, trying to close this down even from a better position. But DS1, they have a lot of bodies around him. Harshy Sports as well. Darkness paid a little bit too close there, and he might be getting dropped off. Fortunately for him, it's not enough. Abubakar spotted again in the open space. Not going to be lucky this time. Rising will cruise to him, and he's going to be knocked away. Dark Knights will lose 2 players in quick succession. And things are going to get very, very dastardly here. Dark Knights in trouble. Neon Rising are starting to feel the rhythm here. Ragnar making a run for it into the zone. This could have been a perfect opportunity for them to third party there. Again, there has to be a lot of work done. Vanguard with another blow. General back into the lobby. Dark Knights not enjoying it. They wanted to go for a high risk, high reward, but they were punished instead. They will think now playing as two, or rather playing as one. A solo man. I think it's Abubakar that's left for Dark Knights. Hashi Sports did manage to get Monkey all the way back up. Dark Knights did put a number on them though, but enough to change things around. DS1 also, in all of that commotion, they only lost one player. And now this position that all of these three teams have gathered in, they want to take this position for themselves. Who will be crowned King of the Hill? Neon Rising have their own ideas, their own instigations. That guy and Beekeeper sharing the eliminations among themselves. Wizard up front now. Spots 911. Rondu might be getting dropped off, and he does get dropped off by Beekeeper. And that's a big blow for Hashi Sport. They had no idea that he was in that position, and he does get the drop, but immediately 911 will respond. And Hashi Sports will trade one for the other. DS1, but there's a big opportunity for a pickup here. Spoke too soon. And Wizard will shut that down immediately as well. Here they come. Beautiful touch. Space to the left-hand side. Immediately gets dropped by Beekeeper. And now Monkey's there. Trying to go for the flush. Hashi Sports down to one. And Neon Rising may have just been licking their fingers there. Another grenade onto the other side again. Beekeeper's been spotted, but Monkey can't seem to get the angles right. Wizard already making a play for it, trying to circle in from that left-hand side. And now the opposition over to the left, also spotted. Third party could be opening as well, but the S12K will shut it down, and Hashi Sports will be sent back packing. And that is not what one would think. That is not what one would think, but it looks like foul play. Starting to feel the brunt here. Rogue, the grenade, might be looking for another finish. Again, pops that one over to the left-hand side. And too short odds zones. Grenade will cause a little bit of chaos. Trying to pack that one up. So this gets run through. Dark Knights have been eliminated. Vortex will have Nyx picked back up. And now foul play could be in some danger here. T-Show odds get a spot through. The grenade here could be the game ender. T-Show odds not lucky this time. He's gonna be dropped off. PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 0 for foul play. Will they prioritize the play zone? That would be the right idea. Oh, that was a very, very chaotic grenade. Nyx does get the drop, the final drop. Again, PlayStation 2 trying to hold this down. A couple more shots in the corner as well. Jojo trying to space him through, but he's going to get dropped off as well. Over to the other side, and now comes PlayStation 0. Vortex in trouble. Row caught out in the open. PlayStation 0 continues to mount the pressure. He has to swap through. Tries to hold it down into the other side. Foul play are not holding this one down. They're not stopping, but they have 2 versus 1. PlayStation 0 now has been spotted. Another grenade over to the right-hand side, but that will be the end of the road for him, as Nyx will hit the final blow. Foul play will be eliminated, and that is how they get stomped. You know, and I did talk about playing out from the south. You know, I did talk about playing out from the south, and that is what, you know, those teams that are playing out from the south, they're enjoying the benefits right now. Luik being one of them. They are struggling with the shoreline, but I think they will be fine going forward. AOD on the other side, just not trying to get into the action just yet. This could be troublesome. Ooh, that was very close, but 8-8 is not going to do much about that one from that distance. User will get a drop on COB. COB will lose one. Hopefully they will not lose another. Dream Team now on the receiving end as well. 8-8 trying to close this down. And Ragnar, they found themselves inside of the zone, I believe. I mean, now would be the best time to be in the zone, though. Do they want to commit? I don't think they do. You know, yeah, they're actually not in the zone, so they will have to make a move, and they will have to make a move quickly. Dream Team have been eliminated, though, in all of that chaos that was ongoing. Loic is the only team in the top 5 aside AOD. Jojo's been spotted, more shots again. Might be time for him to pack it in. On Unsullied Army, they need to find a way to break inside here, but Neon Rising is not going to make it easy for them at all. But if they can find a knock, if they can find some space, they could make this work. But they have to deal with DS1. Vanguard also feeling the heat, and they will be going out, but not without bagging up 5 eliminations to follow suit, so they're not that far away as well. Jay gets another drop on Ragnar Ghosts. But again, they keep continuously dealing the damage, but they can't finish. Alucard on the other side. It's unfortunate that Ragnar do not have a player that can return fire at that distance, because that is also something you have to look at. And ooh, Rez gets panned by Vix. Wow, COP. You'll be getting your first elimination. It looks like Rezas did get panned in all of that. Again, you know, Ragnar deep in the blue. What are they doing, man? What are they doing? Ruka goes down to Jay. I mean, what is the deal? Get into the zone. Goes falls to the zone again. I mean, you know, like, what was the plan there? Ooh, Alucard actually gets a drop there. Beekeeper also following suit. AOD enjoying the entirety of the zone here. This could be what they could be working with. They're trying to lock it in. Noruka drops Federal. Ghost goes down again. Federal goes down as well. Neon Rising have the angles there. They're trying to close this down. They steal one away. Noruka goes back into the zone. 11 eliminations for Neon Rising. And here we go again. They have actively started shooting. Unsullied Army getting dropped and sent away here in all of this chaos. Ragnar still have a man alive, but the gap to top 12 is still very, very far. But we will see how far they will get. Row continues again. AOD on the front foot. AOD looking very comfortable. 3Ground Esports is also there. Ragnar, finally, they will bow out. They will go out, but not without taking a couple of eliminations under their belt. DS1 taking hit after hit again. 8-8 will the final blow with the final hit. They're trying to close this down. Lewick on the other side. They've been shut out of the blue zone. They didn't necessarily make a play. They didn't make it quickly. 3Crown Esports on the other side. AOD dominating the entire zone. They are dominating the entire zone. Everything is working out for them. If they can get an angle there. Oh, what a grenade. What a nade from Jay. And Jay starting to put some distance between AOD and the rest of the opposition. Rowe plays off to the left-hand side. Might be spotted. Yeah, he is spotted. Immediately gets burned by that guy. Neon Rising, they could be their game right now. Merrick and Quilla working hand in hand, but they will be stopped also by AOD. Jay with another one. Jay is absolutely cooking right now. Neon Rising down to 13. Beekeeper peeks out. Danger has his number. Dials him in. Gets knocked away as well. Wizard almost getting spotted there. 8A's grenade could be the opening he's looking for. Launches that one perfectly, but not this time. 8A gets dropped away. And now there's trouble. Jay's the last one left for AOD. Neon Rising know that this is the job to be done. And Jay falls for the bait. And he will be late. Chicken dinner, Neon Rising. And now that is how the chicken is done. What a game. What a game. That was looking very, very interesting. Very, very interesting, but not this time. Neon Rising was stopped earlier on, but not this time. They did everything right. And Neon Rising got themselves that chicken dinner. That guy, 6 eliminations to the good. 4 for Beekeeper. And 7 for Wizard. And Baby was there just for the vibes. He loved the vibes. And he was there for the vibes. But nothing too out of the ordinary there for Neon Rising. You know, I can't lie. They like I said, I expect them to play from the south though, but it worked still. It worked. It worked. It absolutely worked, and that's what we love to see. 54 eliminations, a lot of eliminations here. 7,200 in heals. That tells you that, yep, a lot of healing was going on. Most likely, I think it was from Ragnar, because those guys were healing themselves a lot. They were getting knocked off a lot, and they were trying to get their numbers up again. But again, I don't know why they had to play all the way from that position that they did, but it is the game, I guess. The play zone just forced them, and that is what I was talking about earlier on. But 2,500 for Neon Rising, 27 points, big jump that they had as opposed to the other teams. But Wizard is the MVP, 1,200 and damage points, 8 assists, 27 minutes on the clock, 3 knocks. Yes, he was absolutely cooking, and that is easily one of the better performances he has had inside of this game. But it's not over just yet. You know, it's game 1. There's more to be done. There's bases to be covered. You know, Jay was in there though. Jay was in there, was cooking some 4 eliminations. Yeah, he was really cooking something, that's for sure. And Nick's from Vortex was also in the mix for Vortex, cooking in something special, and that is love to see. But it is not over. It is absolutely not over. There's still a lot of ways to be, you know, to look at this, a lot of angles to look at it from. But for the meantime, 27 points for Neon Rising. I mean, tells you all you need to know. You know, 16 points for AOD, Vortex with 10, Vanguard with 5, Quick Round Esports also with 5, DS1 with 5, Ragnar with 3. They need a whole lot more if they are trying to get into that top 12. Foul Play also with 3, Dream Team with 2, Harsh Esports with 2, COB with 2, Dark Knights with 1, Pro League with 1, 4 Potions, and Unsullied Army with no points. Again, it's not over until it is over. You get me? It is not over until it is over. But right now, Darkness and Danger are tied for MVP. And take a look at that. Jay is in the mix as well. 11 elimination, 10 for Wizard. Luick do have user in the mix as well. Now that is what we love to see. 2,100 on the damage board, nothing too crazy. All of these players are averaging roughly around the same amount of damage points, but you gotta respect it. You gotta respect it still. Incredible performance nonetheless. Incredible performance nonetheless. It has been something interesting to see. But let's take a look at the overall leaderboard now. AOD it further, 39 65 points to 39 from Luick. Neon Rising now in the top 3 with 38 points, 38 as well, with Dark Knights. 4 Potions still in the top 33, doing also with 31. Vortex with 33, Crowdies with 26, Foul Play with 25, COB 24, and Harsh Esports with 23, Pro 3s with 21, DS1 with 19. Ragnar have roughly 7 points. They're still 7 points away. Vanguard as well. You know, a lot, a heavy amount of work to do, but the next game is going to give us a little bit of clarity on who is really cooking and who has it on the board. But it's not over. It's really not. I still feel that this is not how it's going to end. I still feel something is going to happen, something drastic is going to go down, but we are going to see for ourselves how it pans out. Ladies and gentlemen, one game down, three more to go. Stay locked in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be right back for Miramar action. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back to the show. Welcome back to the Nigerian Pro League, the Rain Split Season 8 survival stage. It is the last day. The top 12 teams will go into the finals, and the bottom four will be eliminated from the NPL. And let's not forget, I've got my main man, Fire, in the house. I'm pretty
Hey,
sure,
what's up,
he
man?
has some experts from yesterday's game. So, yesterday's
Absolutely.
games, they were very interesting. And now we have Miramar today coming up. You saw Miramar yesterday. How did that Miramar game make you feel? What do you took away from that game?
I mean, the first game yesterday was a bit quiet. It started off really slow and then got aggressive towards the end. But the Miramar game was where the teams were basically picking up the pace. So I'm not really sure because I just got back home, so I didn't see how they did in the first game today. But if it's anything like yesterday's one, then it's going to be interesting. We'll see. But remember that it had that wonderful ending where three players from Hashi Sports got killed at the same by what team was that again? What team was that? I've forgotten the team. But yeah, it ended quite it was
Yeah, it
quite
was Luik.
yeah, exactly. It was Luke. It was Luke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
so
Luik.
if it
Yeah,
ends like that, it's going to be
I mean,
going to be crazy, yeah.
it's
I think that was the
something
highlight of yesterday for
special.
me,
I mean,
Sha.
yeah, he drove
Yeah.
the buggy up the mountain, and
Up the
then
mountain. Yeah,
found a
yeah.
crazy angle and started, putting in that work. And that's just what makes,
Mm-hmm.
some of these players very different. The level of IQ, the thought process. Not everyone would, do that. Not everyone would think about that one. But,
Yeah, so we'll
it's all part
definitely
of,
see how that one pans out. Obviously, we can see the map moving all the way from, that southeastern region towards the central right there. So there's a very limited choices for some of these teams. So we're going to probably see a bunch of them landing together. Hopefully so, because Miramar is one of those maps that can start off really slow because of the amount of choices, but maybe because they are limited, we might see. Of course, you can already see that on the four Ps heading towards the south. I'm not sure if they're with any team there, so we're probably not going to see anything. Maybe we might see Picado. We didn't see Picado yesterday, so we might see two teams go there, and we might get some early action.
well, Picado eyes will be there for sure. And you're right, four portions are deep in the south. That is usually where they play out of. So I don't think that any team is going to be worried about them. It all depends on, the play zone, what the play zone says. Going into like zone three, zone four, for a team that's this deep in the south, this could have worked in the Erangel game, but unfortunately, that it was just gonna get cut short. Running into AOD, but like you said, four portions. They're chilling in the southern side. They're gonna be fine, I think, in Partona. They'll probably get some vehicles in there and start moving, making that southwestern rotation. Probably gonna run into Vanguard, but knowing Vanguard, they most likely would have moved by the time they pull up there. Neon Rising again on fire right now. They're just coming off a chicken dinner, and
Hmm.
now Unsullied Army they've set their sights on Unsullied Army, and they will get draw first blood.
On Sunday now, we didn't have quite a day yesterday, of course. That one of those teams who will be looking to see if they can get into that top 12, obviously, because I mean, it's be nice to see them in the finals and have them not miss that one. But we'll see how that one evolves for them.
Yeah, they've really struggled. They've really struggled.
Hmm.
Knowing the way they came into the tournament at this stage, a team got disqualified, and then they were the next team up and they made their way in. But now they got to show that, yeah, they deserve it. They have to put something on the board. And I did see a performance coming out from them in the league stages. The last performance that got them into the Super Weekend, that brought them um, level on points to some degree. And that is that's the hunger that I've been waiting for, the hunger that I've been looking for. And I think they also even did get a chicken dinner in the Super Weekend. So this is a team that knows how to get the job done. It's just a matter of actually getting it done, at this stage. And it's like foul play and Protheus are starting to lock horns here. Sergey's trying to apply some pressure on PlayStation 2, but he knows that yeah, it's wraps. Sergey, there's only so much you can do there. If he has a grenade perfectly launched, maybe that could change things, but he has to be careful. Nope, he's exposed. He takes the hit, and that will be good night. Foul
Oh
play,
my god.
making quick work of the pro athletes.
Yeah, the Pro League obviously are in that number 12 position. Now, that does leave an opening for several different teams to come up. Obviously, DS1 is just 2 points behind them, and they still have a full squad. So, definitely, they will be looking to see if they can get their points back up. But I want to say that I like coming into, of course, this survival stage. I did not think that 3C obviously will be in number 9 position. Now they're definitely one of those teams that, of course, everyone's looking at to say, hey, they would probably finish in that first place. And now somehow, like if if the guys in the bottom have an incredible game, it might put them at least for the second and the third game.
Exactly, that could be right, but it looks like COB wants a piece of this action now. Dark Knights and them, they've been locking horns, and that's a
Ooh.
beautiful shot from Progs with the DBS straight to the face. And now that could be trouble. Zaza goes down with the Mini 14. Progs trying to hold this down. And COB on Dark Knights, they have been fighting this battle for ages on end. They have been very stubborn with it. And I think this could be a 1v1. It is. It doesn't look like he will be able to pick up solo again. The pressure continues up into the side. And that's a beautiful shot. Spin around
Yo.
360 no scope. And that is a job well done from Prague. COB
Yo,
will put Dark Knights back into the lobby again. This is the second time.
yo, all right. That's exactly what you want to do if you want to make sure that you get yourself into that comfortable position. Obviously, CLB taking out the boys from Dark Knights was sitting down in that number 2 spot. Great stuff coming through from them, but my goodness, look at AOD's points. I'm actually just seeing that like for the first time now today.
Yeah,
Man,
crazy.
those ones have
Because this
qualified. Those ones have qualified.
this is
There's no
this is
point.
even shakes things up even further
Yeah.
because these points actually go to their grand final points. you
Oh,
know
really?
this is, yeah, it goes to their grand final point. So every single point that they've gotten right now, it's going to show heavily in the grand finals. The grand final points that have already started adding up from the beginning of the league stages. So every single position that they've gotten so far, it ties in. Every single point is very important. And another grenade was tossed through. Ooh, Peter had no idea, but that grenade was going to be very hurtful. But that will
Ooh,
be the end of the road.
ooh.
Three eliminations to Dream Team. Again, Dream Team was also one of the teams I wouldn't really expect to be playing survival stage fire. But these guys, man, this season has been up and down for them. In the Amatan split, they didn't make the finals on the last day. It was, they played the survival stage and they were one of the teams that were in the bottom.
Mm.
On the last day, and they didn't make it to the finals. So now here they are again in survival stage. But I think this time around they may have just done enough.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. I mean, yesterday it didn't start off quite well for them, but they did have a couple of good games and they were able to get those extra points that they needed. So I do think that they'll be able to cross the hurdle. They'll be able to cross that line. But now the spoiler for me is how 3C is doing. They've just gone below COB. They're now all the way down into that 10th position. They did a good game now. If they're going to have um if they're going to keep themselves in that 12th spot. Now, of course, there was some PTHL pro elites. Man, that anyways. We'll talk about that one later. But they've gone out, so there's at least one open slot. there. But if, let's say, for example, DS1, Vanguard, Ragnar all have good games, and somehow 3C goes out early on, we could actually see 3C go below top 12.
Yeah, but when it comes to stuff like that happening, there's a lot of moving parts. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
things have to
Mm-hmm.
be right at the same time. Just like you said, DS1, Ragnar, Vanguard, and Unsullied Army all have to have amazing games, to put teams like Harsh Esports and Three Crown Esports in serious trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like you said, it requires a lot of moving parts. Because right now, Dream
Absolutely.
Team and Three Crown Esports are locking horns. Nexus gets the drop on Peter, sends him back into the lobby, and now Dream Team have been cut down yet another man. This is the problem Dream Team have been facing, since the beginning of this reign split, and they're trying to hold this off, finish a game as a four-man, but again, it gets difficult every single time. Three Crown Esports probably gonna think it again, and that is a
Woo!
beautiful shot from Nexus. And now he's trying to lock this in again, going to the worthy side, swaps through S12K, and that will be a beautiful
Okay.
job. Well done from Nexus, and he is the main character, and that for good measure. Three Crown Esports will eliminate Dream Team
Whoa.
3 points to the board. And Fire, this is exactly what we're talking about. It's all about all of these things happening at the same time. Right now, if you hope that DS1, Ragnar, Vanguard, and Unsullied Army have great games, you also have to hope that Three Crown themselves have a bad game. All of these things have to work at the same time. Three Crown Esports
Mm-hmm.
also has to have a horrible game for all those things to matter. And right now, 3 eliminations for Nexus. It looks like this might be one of them ones where Three Crown Esports remind us who they really are.
Yeah, absolutely. That was incredible. I mean, he played that quite well and managed to, hold his position, use the wall to his advantage, and took out those last players from DT. So the question now is, it's now left to, of course, DS1 Ragnar Vanguard to try, especially DS1, to try to see if they can take over that number 12 spot is open, and every single point now counts. Just 2 points, 2 points to their name, and they could get that number 12 spot. Okay, 3 points actually, and they could take over that number 12 spot. So we'll see how that continues to evolve. 3C has had, sort of a mixed game too as well, just like DT. The story has, started off a little bit okay for them, but they did manage to continue to get those consistent points. We'll see if they can move up to as well. There's still some slots open now, especially that they've taken out the boys from DT. 4VM has also been taken out. As Vertex has been taken out of the game. So we'll see, what that all means at the end of the game and how that shapes up. Foul play is currently lurking around Nexus, so he's got to find a way to rotate. So there might be some danger around there because we saw immediately he took out the boys from DT. Foul play was around the vicinity. They've heard him, they've heard the fight. So the question is, will they be looking to third party and reduce their numbers?
Yeah, I mean, reducing their numbers would be a very ideal. It would be the best way to kick things off. Neon Rising are looking for a way to make their rotations again. This is that phase two rotation you got to be careful with. Again, DS1
Absolutely.
not looking like they want to engage in any of this action. This is also one of the things that you always got to look out for. There are some teams that make things happen, and then there's some teams that make things happen to them. And
Hmm.
you have to decide where you fall. A team like Three Crown Esports, now you can see this is it. They are already making plans for whatever. They are already making plans, predicting what the zone is going to do next, and if it's going to favor them. They want to be in that position on the front lines. Now, coming down to a team like Ragnar, you can see them making rotations outside. They are rotating outside of the zone, making a couple of risky maneuvers. Hopefully it pays out, because right now there's a lot of teams in this area and they could be exposed over from that eastern side. Good thinking from Ragnar, but this is a very hard position to hold, especially if you do get clombered up over to that southwestern side. Cob is inside of San Martin, so they might want a piece of that real estate as well. But right now, Neon Rising, 2 eliminations, coming off a chicken dinner. Fire, do you think they can do a back to back?
Hmm. I mean, they certainly do have what it takes, and they have the experience to do that. I do think that they probably can. but they have several dangerous teams, around them. Now, of course, this is one of those teams who are always looking to, put in the work, find a loophole. They do have the players and attack. So I mean, they probably don't want to go head to head against them. Now we saw what the Kill Advantage did yesterday. So are they in a good enough position? I'm not sure. I would worry if I was them. But we'll see what that does mean, and how the zone shifts. Can they do it? Of course they can. They showed us they can. But they have teams like 3C around them, so we'll see how that one flows. Anyways, we do have Hash Esports versus Foul Play. Foul Play is one of the teams that is also in the mix of things. They're currently sitting on the ninth position, and Harsh East was too as well. And this is one of those, shaping up fights right here. Foul play station two, trying to respond to see if he can get those shots to come through. And it comes down to this moment, but too short
Woo!
odds, definitely not in his favor. And with souls far away, can he get there just in the nick of time? This is where probably those grenades would, really try to do the work. And exactly just as I've said, he's trying to see if he can get that nade. Can it get that knock that he deserves, or at least get them to? Ooh, he's the last guy. He's really low priest, and
Perfect.
that's it.
Perfect. Perfect grenade. I saw it. It was perfect. Perfectly launched. Perfectly weighted. And Harsh Esports will be dropped back into the lobby, but not empty-handed. They did manage to take two away from foul play. And again, it it really boils into, can I
Hmm.
take this engagement? Can I? Foul play had the extra advantage of having a player just out of that position, getting a little bit of an off angle on the guys from RC Sports. Now RC Sports losing out earlier again, sitting in 11th, and now Ragnar and DS1 Vanguard, all these other teams. Unfortunately, Vanguard not necessarily having the best game so far. DS1 did put some screws to them. Unsullied Army also have lost two earlier on. Vanilla, you can see him just sprawled out there, and that will be the
Ooh.
end of the road for him.
Oh
Again,
well, definitely. I mean, Vanguard, from the way they've been playing, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to rule them out totally, because they can come into the, third and the fourth game and really have, really blow our minds away. It's really possible they can get, win two winner chicken dinners and get a couple of kills, and you can never rule them out. So I wouldn't totally. But for now, it's looking like we're probably, quite aware of the teams that probably, at least two teams that probably won't make it from the performance so far. But we'll see how it continues to evolve. They still got at least one player within the game. Maybe he can hide, for some time and see. And that zone now shifting all the way towards that northeastern side. And several of these teams will now begin to make the rotation. This is where things now begin to get dangerous. 3C, Neon, AOD, those three teams, they love to attack. They love to, make that push. And we might see something going down between them while they rotate from that southwestern region.
well, it's all about the rotations. If they can get them right and without having to lose any bodies on the way. Zaza and Progs from COB also making their way out of San Martin. Hopefully that will lead them into the right jurisdiction. Right now, Three Crown Esports trying to play from hillside to hillside, playing a little bit of a split, and they have been spotted. Some warning shots going in their general direction, but I don't think it's enough to force them out. Ragnar, again, this position that they've chosen for themselves is very, very solid. But if the play zone shifts away from here, they will be in a lot of trouble. They will be in a world of hurt. And again, you always have to be very sure of what you want to play, especially in a map like this. You have to be in very high ground positions at all times. I think that's a no-brainer. It looks like Lilo from DS1 could be trying this out, but it
Ooh.
looks like AOD and Lewick and Three Crown Esports getting caught out in the open, all in the same places here. Three Crown Esports in serious trouble. Rezas from
Oh.
Lewick puts in the screws again. We saw Lewick play this exact same thing yesterday, and it looks like it could be working out. Nexus might be getting dropped off. He does get dropped off by Rezas, and that might be good night for Three Crown Esports if if something can happen here.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You know, Louis has this. I don't know what to call it, whether it's a talent to rotate behind a team all the way up to the hill. Like Three Cross was already on that hill, so how they ended up being the ones that were pushed on the hill is just amazing to me. But anyways, they've done it again, and they've reduced the numbers for 3 crowns, which still puts them within that danger zone. Of course, you can see that DS1 has now taken over that spot from PTL, but the shots continuing to fly into the direction of the boys from 3 crowns. Neon doing what they do best. Of course, right here in Miramar, they're showing exactly what they're made of, and trying to see if they can take them out. 3 crowns fighting for their life as they are now dropped down to that number 9 position. So we'll see what that does mean at the end of the day. But they have Nexus, who is currently down. I'm not sure that revive can come through, and it will be very difficult for them to get out of here. The buggy has been spoiled, and they're just basically holding them down.
Well, Three Crown Esports, they will never back down. They will never back away. They do want to get the reset on. They want to get Nexus picked up. They cannot afford to lose another player this early in the zone. And it tells you exactly why this is important for them. Every single angle right now is being covered very strongly by Luik. And they are enjoying all of these positions right now, sitting at the top, at the apex of the hillside. And now they have a side. But take a look at the zone. My goodness, everybody is in the western side. Only COB is in the cut. They are in the east, just south of water treatment. Again, this feeds into the intel. That is what I tell you, all of these teams
Hmm.
playing a similar way. They all end up in a similar position. Neon Rising is the only team now that's trying to break out of that reset and cut through those positions. AOD now on the other side also are trying to put some more pressure on, and Ragnar actually getting a drop onto the guys from 4 portions, adding some more points down for themselves. AOD have lost one fire. Do you still think they can, you know, maximize all of this with just 3 players in the cut?
Yeah, I think they can. We saw them do it yesterday. It doesn't matter. They're a good team, 4-3. They'll still find a way. And as the game continues to progress, obviously the numbers from other teams as well is also dropping. There are only 1, 2, 3 teams with a with a full team, with a full squad. So the more we progress, the less it matters. But of course, if you're going up against Loic, in a 3v4, you definitely will need some, you know, you definitely will need those numbers. So it all depends. It's situational. I mean, we saw yesterday, Luke was a two-man squad going up against Ashport, and they still managed to get things done. But this man user, Chris, come on, look at how they're just farming kills everywhere from their hill.
I mean, it's insane. It's insane. They're looking very comfortable from those high ground positions. I believe that's just the strategy. That's just the strategy that they're used to in Miramar, and they know every single nook and cranny, of this Miramar position, and they're trying to make the best out of it. And after what they played yesterday, it's pretty much the same thing. They just keep making it better and better and better any chance they get. Luik back on the front foot. Playzone has shifted away from their position, so they now will have to start looking for where they will call home for the final zone of this Miramar game. Again, it is still very much anyone's game. Luik have found themselves now in the top two. They have displaced Dark Knights, and it is well deserved. 11 teams are still very much in it here. 27 players alive, and all vying to get into that final four.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Now we've seen several different teams such as Neon rotate all the way into that northern side too as well. So they've held a good position. Loic just moving away and trying to see if they can get themselves into that zone too as well. But of course, 3C in some danger. They've been hunted by Loic for quite some time, and the numbers have now been reduced officially to 2 player. But let's look at Unsolid Army. They're one of those teams who definitely need to get those points. They're crashing into this building. They do not have the numbers too as well. They're down to just players, and we'll see if they can continue to hold their own and gather those points. You can see now that DS1 has been taken out of the game too as well, so that opens up things again for Ragnar to see if they can, perform a lot better. But now we see Ragnar put in the work right there against the boys from Angels of Death, and they're down to just the one guy. So this is exactly how Ragnar should be playing this world. Now Ragnar, Chris, is one of those teams that, I
Ooh.
mean, Alucard is, I mean, from what I've seen, I can say that he's got something. They're one of, if anyone's going to sneak out of that bottom half, I actually think is Ragnar. I'm not sure what it is with them and why they've not been able to, perform. But I've seen glimpses of hope, in yesterday's games, and that just makes me think that they might get in. They might get in.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I have seen glimpses. I've seen something special. All they have to do, the thing with Ragnar is if they don't chase the zone, they usually perform much better. They're
Mm.
just one of those teams that once the zone is not stressing them out, they tend to, enjoy the game a little bit more. They get a little bit more comfortable with all of those positions that they've got. But now, once they have to make, long rotations or quick rotations, they usually get caught out. But it looks like Neon Rising will set their sights now on Three Crown Esports. Another one will bite the dust. Unsullied Army are out of the zone here, and I don't see Unsullied Army making it out of there without being blown to pieces by Neon Rising. Is going to be a very tough rotation to make. I mean, how do they even end up in
Nah,
positions like
they're not
these?
making it in.
How do you
They're not
end up
making
in a
it in.
position like
They're not
this,
making it
gang?
in. They're not. They're
Yeah,
not.
you're not beating the allegations. You're not. You're not beating the allegations. If I was you, I would stay in the blue zone. Yeah, bro. Like, yeah, you're not. There's no way he makes it in, right? There's no
Yeah,
way.
nah, nah,
The distance to travel
nah.
is too high. It's too far. Yeah, the
Yeah,
distance to travel is too far. No vision. Poor vision from
yeah,
Unsullied Army there. They pay the price. They get hurt, and that will be
yeah.
the end of the road for them. But I think they got some placement points in all of that chaos. But now it looks like Neon Rising might be going for a back to back, and Three Crown Esports have been eliminated.
Yeah, things kind of easily getting a little hit, but I do feel like they did just enough to keep themselves in that number eight position. A lot of those teams who are at the bottom half don't seem to, have the numbers to really put an effect in this particular game, except of course Ragnar. Now Vanguard, of course, has gone out of the game, so Neon Rising as well as the boys from Loic, who are all the way in that top five, will be going head to head against each other. And if they do decide to take this fight, it might just leave some opening for Ragnar. That's the one team I feel like can get themselves into that top 12. But it really doesn't affect things between, all the way from fifth, maybe right up to 10th position on that leaderboard.
Yeah, you're right. This could go into the last game for who actually makes that top 12, because right now Vanguard didn't have a horrible game. Ooh, gets exposed immediately by that guy. Neon Rising using this one to their advantage. Luik will lose yet another body here, trying to hold this down, but it doesn't look like much will be coming out of this. They still don't forget COB is still very much in the mix. They might want a piece of this one, and that will be the end of the road. COB still have a man outside the blue zone. He does get the drop on him, but he allows the play zone to claim him instead, and that will be the game. Neon Rising again. Chicken dinner back to back. Neon Rising showing everyone why they are the number one team representing Nigeria at the IESF regionals.
Yeah, absolutely amazing stuff from them. I mean, you asked them before the game started if they could do it, and I had my doubts. I had my doubts because of the teams that were rotating around them, but they played it quite well. They knew when to hold the position within the zone, and it worked out for them at the end of the day. So definitely, probably looking to see how much points they can scrape out of this particular phase, going all the way into that final. So do you think that teams are now going beyond just saying, "Hey, we want to qualify," to let's see how we can give ourselves some advantages in that final?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what it is right now. I think these teams now are starting to realize that these survival stage points are very, very crucial. So they cannot be caught lacking. They cannot be caught out in the open. And we're starting to see that is why it's so important. It is so important to get as many points as you can. You can't stop and you won't stop, and you always have to keep the pressure, on your opponents at least any opportunity you get.
Yeah, absolutely. Wizard and Boys was totally impressive in this previous game. You can see that they gathered about 11 eliminations so far. Going head to get, of course, another impressive team, COB, who's managed to still keep themselves in that top 12 spot for now. But we'll see what the next two games definitely entails. So Neon grabbing 21 points from that game, and my man Wizard was absolutely outstanding. He was taking out several different teams. One that I noted, of course, was when we saw the boys from UA trying as much as possible to rotate away from that zone, and he made sure he got those kills and kept them in that bottom half of the entire table.
Right work. Wizard MVP back to back. He was the MVP in game one. He is now MVP in game two, leading the charge. But Progs from COB is also in there. Three eliminations to the good. Play with Souls with four. And roughly 370 in damage points. Nexus is finally in the MVP conversations after a while, and he did come out there with 400 plus in damage points. But let's not forget that guy from Neon Rising also putting in the assist, putting in the work. Did manage three eliminations in all of this chaos and put himself in the top five. But take a look at the leaderboard. Take a look at the standings. Fire 21 points for Neon Rising. What does this tell you?
Yeah, obviously they are consistent, but I'm not surprised with the players that they do have at their disposal that they are performing the way that they are. But back-to-back chickens, I mean, that is a whole lot of work, especially with the pressure within the survival stage right now. So that obviously, several different teams have got to just step it up. We need some magic from them. There are also some teams that will, need to step up in the coming games. If not, they will find themselves in the bottom half of the entire table, especially if those guys like that are the bottom side, DS1 and co, do have amazing games. So we'll see what that does mean for the next games. But man, my goodness, look at the overall top players. Of course, Darkness having 17, and that man Wizard, we just saw him in the previous game getting 15 eliminations so far. If he continues at this pace, he might actually take over Ness.
Yeah, you're right. There is a big chance that he might just take over. But the action doesn't stop here. Danger, Luik, Jay, all of them still very much within touching distance. No double digits, nobody running crazy there. But take a look at that. AOD now within 10 points of touching distance from Neon Rising, and Luik inside of that cut as well in the top three. Dark Knights in fourth. They have dropped all the way down. The COB in the top five with a 35-point blockade against Dream Team, 3 Crown, and 4 Portions as well. All of these teams in the mid 30s. Now, Foul Play have got themselves 33 points. Vortex also with 31. Harsh 25. DS1 with 22. And 21 with 1 point in front of Prothlease. Prothlease now with 3 points in front of Ragnar and 5 points away from Vanguard. DS1, Prothlease, Ragnar, Vanguard, Unsullied Army. These guys, one of them has to give it up. Somebody's got to pack it up, but we don't know who yet.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like UA can. I don't want to call it. I don't want to call it 100% yet because obviously you have teams like Harsh, DS1 who are within that 20-something point range, and if they do have an amazing game, it could just turn things around for them. But at the same breath, you're looking at a team that is on only 9 points with two more games to go. So they need
Yeah,
something
but
short
I
of a
mean,
miracle.
I mean, yeah. And the funny thing is, I've seen Unsolid Army do this, and they usually do it in the last game of the night where they just do something crazy and get themselves a chicken dinner. I've seen them do this. They did this in the league stage, they did it in the Super Weekend, in the last game of the night. That tells you all you need to know. But, I spoke too soon. And we're about to see. But ladies and gentlemen, the action continues. Sanhok is up next. So do not touch that dial. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be right back for game number 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It is the Nigerian Pro League, the rain split. It is the survival stage. It is match number three. Two games down, two more to go. We're about to enter the third. It is Sanhok Fire. What are your expectations?
Yeah, definitely. I am looking to see if we can see an upset in this particular game. Guys like UA Ragnar, they definitely need something out of the bag. Now, you've also said that UA, this is the map where they do tend to perform 3C2 as well. So yeah, yeah, I'm expecting that. I want to see that because that shakes things up a little bit for the final game. Game gets a lot of those teams to, you know, have a little bit of tension. So yeah, makes it all more interesting. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, we're about to see the tensions if they will be rising. Playing path cuts a little bit towards that central position, keeps things pretty much on the fair and narrow. And you will see COB inside of a boot camp, and it looks like they will not be relying stopping on this one. They will get the first drop again, traveling to the other side. And again, they're taking this one to charge. Foul play in trouble right now. Zaza maybe trying to hold on, Vix trying to play into the right hand side, and that will be a clutch. Club of ballers are balling right now. They are
Ooh.
absolutely balling. Foul play smoked like a pack of cigarette sticks. Back into the lobby they go, and foul play we're not expecting to get cooked out here. And I think naturally, it's only XTC that can deal with COB inside of boot camp. I personally feel like that is the only team. Wow.
Well, that's just absolutely crazy. I mean, foul play might still make it in. Obviously, they shouldn't get too comfortable, but COB being absolutely aggressive, continuing to rack up those points. But now we turn our sights onto Unsolid Army. Now, these are two teams that definitely needed. And you were talking about this earlier on, but I think you mentioned it between Ragnar and Vanguard. But imagine if Ragnar does take out on Solid Army right here and get themselves those extra points. Or I mean, this is definitely interesting. This is
Oh,
something that should be happening. Do you think they did this on purpose?
yeah, I think they did. I think this is part of Unsolid Army strategy. They're trying to deal with, Ragnar again into the other side. And again, Naruka is all left to him here. Unsolid Army is going to try this one again. Naruka does
Mm.
get dropped away. And Unsolid Army is trying to pick up the pieces. 10 points to the good. Ruka follows a suit as well. And again, like I said, this is on Solid Army's playground. They love them some Sanhok. They love playing in from the northern side. Teams that do like to land around here on Solid Army will start to pick them apart. And you're starting to see that happen to Ragnar. Unfortunately for them, too early to start losing players, Ragnar. All you needed was just 4 points, just maybe 5 points to get yourself into that top 12 conversation. But we're about to see if that's going to be the case for them. They have already lost two players. Hopefully, they don't lose any more.
Yeah, definitely. Things are, now beginning to shake up at that bottom half with UA grabbing two of those eliminations up against Ragnar. Not, but they do need quite some more of those performances. I feel like UA needs nothing short of a top three in this game with at least 10 kills to see if they can get into that conversation. At least currently they're sitting down with 11 points. So I feel like they need a lot more to see if they can qualify. They need to get into that top 12. But we'll see what that does mean for them at the end of the day. Foul plays out of the game so far. Ragnar's lost two players, and things are looking quite spicy at that bottom half. All the way at the top, I don't really care. I mean, if AOD decides, hey, they're not coming into the game and they're just gonna, just wing it, in the final game, it's fine. I think they've done enough. They risk their number one spot anyways to Neon, but still, I don't think that they will care too much. If the goal was to qualify, they already have Priest.
Yeah, but like I said, the points still matter. The points still very much matter because of the grand finals, because of the grand finals leaderboard table. The points still matter. 69 points is a lot, is a whole lot to just uh to leave hanging there. If you can add more, so you gotta add more. If you can get up to 80 points inside of the survival stage, it is going to absolutely help you a lot. But now, all of these teams, they are thinking about it. They're always like gonna have to reason. Okay, what is the plan here? What do they want to do? How many points do they think they can squeeze out of the lobby? These are all the questions they need to ask. And now, they will be asked. But right now, COB 4 points, 35, 39. These guys, they have been absolutely incredible in survival stage. I think they just needed to find their rhythm. I just think they needed to, understand the lobby just a little bit more. And now they're starting to see it for themselves. These guys are starting to find their footing, find their rhythm. But now all we need them to do is keep this up even into the finals. The finals is where they need, to turn this around. It's a very, very solid number of points they've gotten for themselves. If they can even raise it up to at least 50 points, that would be something special for COB.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that they have been, just like you said, incredible so far. I did think that yesterday they started off a little bit slow, but they got back into the rhythm, and now they have almost solidified their position in that top 12. I don't see them losing it at this particular point, especially with the performance that they've had so far while this game has started. But we'll see how things continue to evolve. But I mean, I've done a little bit of the math right here. I don't see them dropping below that number 12 spot, at least by the end of this game.
Well, well, well. Sanhok brings out a different type of beast, a different type of strategy from some of these teams. So we'll see who is going to capitalize on it. But moving of a breakout in transition here. Looks like DS1 are going to be on the receiving end of this one. It is four portions that turn this around. Sorcery goes out. Unfortunately, he had no magic left in his pouch to close this down. Loxy too far out to think about anything. And Regioso continues. Oh, what a grenade from Regioso. Oh, perfectly launched. Probably going to try a 2 for 2. Can he get it done over the other side again? More pressure from Loxy, but unfortunately, they want more of this one. And if he has the smokes, that could work. Loxy's actually going to be dropped by Roman, and now here they come. More grenades from Regioso. Can he pop it through? Over to the
Oh,
side.
oh.
DS1 annihilated. Now they have given up that top 12 position. And who have they given it up to? Is it Prothles? Is it Ragnar? Is it Vanguard? Who did they give it up to? Well, we're about to find out. DS1 caught lacking in that 12th position.
Oh, definitely one that's quite tough for a lot of teams, but DS1 just piling up under pressure right there and getting sent back into the lobby. So the final game is definitely going to be one where they will have to fight to get back into that number 12 spot, especially with all those other teams looking to grab that spot. Like you said, the question is who can capitalize on this and take over that number 12 position. But we'll see how things continue to evolve as several of the teams are now beginning to make the rotations into that zone. We still got a whole bunch of teams. We still got 13 teams. So far, it's been Foul Play, DS1, who have been sent back into the lobby. Ragnar has been dealt some damage to as well as they've lost two of the players quite early on to Unsullied Army.
Losing early. Starting to be a repetitive cost here for the most part. Unsullied Army have to think twice about what rotation they do want to make out of this northern side. You can see Cal is not necessarily too friendly for them, but I think they do have a very good path, a very clear path into the zone if they can play it over the bridge, and deal with Harsh Sports with the quickness. Again, it's all about how fast, it's all about how quickly you can maneuver in Sanhok because of how small the map is. You're forced to make much quicker decisions. You have to be more precise in your rotations. Right now on Solid Army, it would be the best time for them to go over to the bridge because they do not have the play zone here and they will have it, going forward. So the best thing for them would be to get inside of that northwestern corner, take the bridge to Hathin, and just maybe circle around Camp Alpha, because Vanguard, that is the position I think they've taken. And they are just going to play a 2-2 split, hold the high ground position. As you can see them just holding this high ground position, not giving it out. They know that there's no opposition behind them. But Unsullied Army have the opportunity, to make that rotation all the way through from that northwestern side, coming through Hatin, and it could work for them if they do not get interrupted by the likes of Hashi Sports over to that western side. But right now, Vanguard, Fire, do you think, this position they already have themselves in, do you think it might be exactly what they need to just see them into the finals?
Yeah, definitely looking to see if they can pick up teams while they are rotating around. But will that be enough? I'm not sure. There's a couple of teams right here like Neon Lewick who will, relish fights like this and can take them on. You can see Lewick obviously, just dancing, just doing those
Is he
emotes. Yeah,
doing
under no pressure.
Sharingan or Rasengan or something? Is he doing Sharingan or Rasengan or something like that?
No,
What do they call this one? Rasengan, Abina, Sharingan, Abina,
looks,
Almighty Push. What do they call
I
that?
mean, well, I think it looked more like a Kagebushin. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Uh, of course, you know what it is, nerd. Of course, you know what that shit is. All you nerds.
I mean,
Right,
I've been watching
right.
a lot of anime lately. I was not really. I mean, I watched the old animes back in the day, Bleach, Naruto, but recently I have watched within the past 3 months since Solo Leveling came out. I've watched more anime than I have my entire life. In fact, times that
Crazy,
times that 2 lives. Yeah, I've watched at least 20 animes this period alone. Like it's been
crazy.
crazy.
Do you know the funny
I've watched
thing?
a lot.
I never watched Naruto. I
Wow.
should have watched it when my mates were watching it, but too late for me
Nah, it's not.
now.
It's not.
I
It's
only watched the
probably
Death Note.
yeah. It used to be really good, but right now, nah. There are many more interesting ones. Many, many more.
Yeah, but now it's like culture type shit.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. True, true, true.
But Proth leads though, looking very good here. But Four Portions now trying to deal with Dark Knights. Oh, Dark Knights are thinking about how to hold this one. Darkness will not see the light anymore. Proth leads will steal that one away, and that is 1 point going to Proth leads. Now they are tied on points with a TS1, 22 to the good, and now they're trying to close this out. Solo plays off onto the other side. Proth leads trying to make this into a little bit of a sandwich, and the taste is good if they can get an angle on it. Though aimbot manages to scale through with 1 HP, and he circles his way back. 5 eliminations, and it's looking very good right now for Four Portions if they can't hold it through. But that's a big opportunity there. Grenade tossed over to the right hand side, and that could be another one for the Prothletes. Yes, it is. Savage gets a drop on him, and that is the end of the road. Grenade sent through. Here they come again now. Four Portions want a piece of it. Prothletes cannot afford to lose. COP have decided to pull up into the mix, and take a look at that. Another one will bite the dust. Progs gets a drop on. COP on fire right now. 5 eliminations, might be going for 6. Roman tries to circle back, immediately gets a drop. Prothletes in trouble. Crate trays onto the right hand side. Ned tries to jump through. Jump shot over the other side. Click, click, click. Doesn't work, but this time will not save him. Roman goes down, and immediately the S12K will shut it down. Progs trying to hold it through and circle and spray over to that left hand side. Both leads fighting for their lives, and COB will not stop. This is not this is not a stopwatch. This is a rollie. It doesn't stop. It keeps on going. 8 eliminations for COB. And what a time to turn up.
Man,
Sergi had to
amazing
run.
stuff. Amazing stuff right there for the boys from COB coming into that one with a third party and collecting all those amazing, amazing bodies, amazing gifts coming through right there. But remember, we had spoken about Neon holding a position, but Luik wanting those fights. So you can see them going in for the push right now. Yagami going up on that hill, just rotating around. He's been dealt a little bit of damage, so he will rotate back into those buildings. But they do want this fight. These are two teams that want to go toe to toe against each other. Maybe at this, if Neon wins this fight, they might move all the way into that number one spot. We'll see what that means. But AOD is not in this game, right?
Yeah, AOD couldn't make it into the game.
Oh,
So
okay,
now they have
okay.
given an opportunity for Neon Rising and Luik to creep up a little bit closer to them, unfortunately. But it looks like Beekeeper is also going to tame this and Trey on as well. User does get knocked away though. Ace from 4 portions is in the mix. This could be a very sumptuous third party for him, but unfortunately he is all alone, so he has to be very, very careful. But every single position here could it be occupied? And I did talk about, Unsullied Army making this rotation. They're making a little bit late for my liking, and this is exactly why. Now the Blaze Zone has moved and it has fed those guys just in pie. Now Dream Team are gonna love this, but they don't have any eliminations just yet. Lewick continuously trading blows with Neon Rising. One of them is gonna have to give this up or get into a much better position in the zone. And I know for a fact Neon Rising, they're very comfortable out there in the terrain. They're willing to they're willing to go on and on and on in here.
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to toe to toe against any team, and you can see they've managed to keep their players up in this game, showing definitely why they won the first and the second game. So Luke just pulling back a little bit, obviously aware that they are not fighting any pushovers at this particular point in time, looking for that one knock to you know make that push. And you can always feel right when you're taking on this fights that you're not fighting against
Ooh.
pushover. But this might just be the opening that Neon is looking for right here. They've got one player down in this team, and they will be looking to see if they can get that push. You can see it's already coming through. That guy's already within the vicinity, and this is when nades now start to fly. You can see Baby coming in from one angle as well. And now this will go into that corner.
Ooh,
They might
trouble
get a knock,
wizard.
and it's trouble every corner.
Ooh. Ooh, wizard did get knocked
But
away. That's a
wait, what?
beautiful grenade
Ooh,
from Baby. And
one,
that is
two.
exactly what they needed to get the job done. They did lose Wizard in all of that chaos. Yagami and User now trying to hold this down. Another one will bite the dust. User goes down. Beautiful DBS shot from Baby as well. But that will be good night for User as well. Yagami to follow suit. That guy is really him. And 4 eliminations, 2 Neon Rising. Lewick will drop the points.
Actually, they could take over that spot from AOD. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. With the amount of with the gap that we had previously, that's actually crazy that they've been able to close that one. But great stuff coming through right there from Neon. They did have one of the players taking out Wizard, but they did manage to take out Lewis, increasing that gap too as well. I feel like AOD and Neon have definitely run away with it. But obviously, you still got to give it to guys like COB who have got 8 eliminations within the game. They have the most eliminations of every team, and they still have the full squad. So definitely, we'll be looking out for them. If they do get into that final circle, they might just be able to do this. But my guy, as in Neon, is just on fire today.
Yeah, they're absolutely cooking right now. But again, this is going to be a very difficult game for them to win, owing to the fact that that position they've got deep in the south, the player is going to close any moment from now. It's going to make things a little bit much more difficult for them. COB also in that vicinity south of their position. They would probably try to make a little bit of an easier rotation over to the front side, but it looks like Vanguard also taking hits. Ragnar could get a piece of this if they wanted to. They can try to hold it down. Boogie 22K trying to pack this one in. Monkey's been spotted. Have to be very careful here. If Vanguard, if they are stopped, it's going to be too early for them. 911 on the ground floor trying to circle back and find his way through the rest of the opposition. They could make something work here. Oh, here he
Oh,
comes.
Hush.
Immediately gets dropped away by 911. And Vanguard will be down to just one. They will not be capitalizing at all. And Federal with the final blow on Solid Army somehow find a way through.
Man, it's not been quite a day for Vanguard right now. We thought that they might be able to capitalize on DS1, but the only team that has managed to get up and take over that spot is Protolites, and they've been able to see to claim that number 12 spot. But they're just down to that one player too as well. We'll see if Ragnar can do something eventually, but Hashi Esports, just still managing to keep their players alive. Uh, they've got Vanguard around them too as well. One of the players currently lurking around and has been knocked down. I'll be curious to see if they can continue to rack up this point, because I feel like Harsh needs to get themselves away from that 12, 10, those points. They need to move up But that also does put some danger for the guys like 3C and Vertex too as well. So I mean, all the way from sixth, oh, okay, let's say seven, all the way from 7 to 12. I mean, it could shake up. And it's just crazy that with all the play coming from DT and 3C, they're still in that mix.
Yeah, you're right. There's a big chances for things to turn around here. Dream Team setting their sights on their UA, trying to hold this down. Three eliminations in, and they're trying to work this through. But Hashi Sports are also trying their best to make something happen. It looks like Ragnar will have one under their belts, courtesy of Ghost. Unsullied Army will lose out yet again. Federal has been spotted, and that will be the end for Unsullied Army. They will go out, and it is an unfortunate turnout for them. But hopefully, the last game is where they will shine. We've seen that happen before. And now Hashi Sports are feeling the heat, and Neon Rising are starting to close them down. Ronu goes down as well. Hashi Sports fighting for their lives. Neon Rising looking for a triple, a back to back to back. We've only seen
Uh,
one team do that in this range split. It has been Arab T Esports, and they qualified to the finals already after that incredible performance on day two of the Super Weekend. But now Neon Rising, six eliminations. Fire. Do you think they can still do it with the two players out?
Okay, I mean it's all down to these League Two moments, right? They've got Hashi spots around them who has two players too as well, so they're in a 2v2, and I do think that I don't think they can win. I don't think so, but um because you still have guys like DT who have the numbers as well as COB. I don't think they have the numbers, but it's all down to League Two things right now. DT is also still in the mix of things too as well, and they do have the numbers as well. So all of these guys are aggressive, but you never know. You never know. So I'm not going to rule it out for them. But look at things in that bottom half has already been cemented. There's nothing changing. The only things that can change is all the way in between that top eight position. Well, Vortex still has one player there, so they might be able to move all the way to 10th or even ninth. But yeah, the guys at the bottom have literally almost sealed their fate.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Dream Team, like I said, like I did mention them, inside of Sanhok. I mentioned them. I mentioned Unsullied Army. These are the two teams that I know that Sanhok, they love them some Sanhok. They are very good in playing out of Sanhok. But now Vortex down to one. Rogue, can he find a way through? It's very unlikely, though, that he finds a way through out of this mess. Ace from Four Portions is also a solo player waiting for him, and he is trying to make his way through there. And Ace is trying to pop it in. Rogi makes his way over to the right hand side. He makes the open space again, tries to pop it through. Molotov perfectly
Wait,
launched. The vector as well to close this down in all of this chaos. This is a 1v1 for the for the play zone. Whoever makes it out of here is going to the play zone, but who is it going to be though? Is it Rogue or Ace from Four Portions? These two teams all relying on their
nah,
last man. Dream
nah. I
Team,
think
on
both
the
of
other
them are gonna
hand.
die there. I think both of them are gonna die there. I think so. I think both of them are gonna die there. But obviously, coming through, it is Rogue going up against Proportions. And
Ooh,
Rogue winning that particular fight, but can he get in? I said it. Both of them are gonna die there.
ooh.
I thought
Unfortunate,
so.
very
Yeah.
unfortunate. But Rogue was able to seal one for his team, and it looks like Dream Team now setting their sights on Neon Rising. That guy's been knocked away again and again, and unfortunately, this time he will not be getting picked up. Dream Team are inching closer and closer to that chicken dinner, and they are looking for a way forward now. Baby hops into his vehicle, spins over to the right hand side, and that is the easy bait and switch. This time, X will get the drop on him. COB now trying to hold it down. Three Crown Esports still very much in the mix, playing his three, but COB are going to have something to say about this one. Grenades getting sent over, and now here come Three Crowns trying to close this down on the guys from COB, but COB are in X mode. They're firing on all four cylinders now. Zaza goes down. Prox plays up a little bit closer, and he's
Yo.
instantaneously run away. Nexus is spotted as well. Merrick crashes onto the scene. COB have been on fire, but here comes 3 Crown Esports with the extinguisher, but X spoke too soon. X gonna give it to you every single time. Dream Team now want a piece of the action. They circle back. Baby goes down. Neon Rising getting swept away, and this could be an opportunity for 3 Crown Esports to close this down, but Dream Team might have something to say about this one, as Neon Rising will swim their loss. Over to the other side again. Grenades from Devil. Can he close this down? 2 of his teammates have been knocked away. This could be an opening they're looking for. Grenade and a Molotov to seal the deal here. Devil trying to get his HP up in a 1 versus 2. He cannot be prone. If he's prone, it's gonna be a harder one to crack. There's three teams left right now. COB down to 1. Can Devil turn this around? A little bit of an open space, and here comes the
Okay.
switch. Oh,
Get
the
the
vehicle
knock.
switch.
Get it.
Pops inside, gets the first drop, goes for the flush,
Yeah.
tries to go for the second. Click, click, click. He's out of bullets, and he goes prone immediately as well. Sam trying to close this down. Switch again, but this time he will not be so lucky, and that will be the end of the road. Dream Team now on a serious circumvention, as X again has started to give it to them. Over to the other side, the northern corner of the position. COB cooking right now, but can Dream Team put a spanner in the works? He tries to go for the finish. Here comes X with a P90, a little bit of a peek into the
There's no
spray.
way.
Tries the
There's no
right hand
way.
side, but not this time. Dream Team chicken dinner, undeniable and perfectly executed.
Amazing stuff coming through right there from the boys from Dream Team. For a second, it looked like there was some scare. I feel like COB X could have moved in just in time while they were busy dealing with the last player from 3C. But at the end of the day, it is a winner chicken dinner to the boys from Dream Team. You can't take anything from them. Obviously, great performance, and to make sure that they continue to solidify their spot. And this might just take them into that top 5 position, take over that spot left over it open from the boys from Dark Knights.
Woo! Big game. Very, very big game. COB turning it up, but Dream Team getting their hands on that elusive chicken dinner. Again, I did talk about them being one of the stronger teams in Sanhok, and they showed exactly why. Beautiful performance from Dream Team. You know, we did have a lot of vehicle eliminations in a Sanhok game. That is also something very interesting. You know, you don't see that very often, but it is still very much part of the game. But COB did their thing. They did their thing this time around. Dream Team did finish up with 19, but COB did put 15 on the block there. 25 minutes on the clock as well for each team. You know, and you know the funny thing, Fire, COB is a team that used to struggle when the bigger teams were in the lobby. You know, when you had Tribe Warriors, Afro Esports, Arab T, Ecstasy in the lobby, teams like COB were struggling. You know, they were struggling a lot. But now, Baby is your MVP.
Yeah, great stuff coming through right there from the boys from COB. But Neon Rising too as well. You cannot take it away from them. Baby getting that MVP, getting 5 points and as well as 2 assists. Of course, being absolutely outstanding for his team, making sure that he's healing them and getting them up. Neon having quite a great game too as well. We're absolutely aggressive. We saw them going up against, you know, the boys from Lewick being, you know, aggressive from the beginning to the end. And at some point, I felt like if they were able to keep the numbers, they were shaping up like they could win that game too as well. But they just let the foot off the gas just at that last moment.
Well deserved, baby. The MVP. Again, you know, we've had 3 games in a row where a Neon player is the MVP. Back to back MVPs. And now it's Baby's turn to share in the spoils. X from Cobb. COB was on fire as well. Storm from Dream Team also putting in that work. That guy and Ronu from Harsh Esports. All of these players putting in work, showing exactly why they should be in the finals, why they must be the MVPs, and you can't take it away from them at all. You know, this is something that we've also always looked at coming into this final game we're about to. It's all on the line now. The points are very important.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, you want to see teams, just move all the way up, but Angels of Death not being able to get into the game. UA managing to grab themselves just 3 points. Was that enough? I do not think so. A lot of those teams who found themselves at the bottom of the overall leaderboard not performing quite as well in this particular one. But all the way on the other side, you didn't see DT getting 19 points extra. Definitely that will move them into that top five position, as well as the boys from Club of Ballers. Neon Rising, did they do enough to steal that number one spot? We'll find out pretty soon. Crowns, 3 crowns as well, just continue to rack up those points to make sure that they solidify their position in that top 12.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, AOD, DS1, Foul and Vanguard did not get any points. It will hurt DS1 a little bit more. Ragnar continuously adding points in every single game. Prothlees did manage to get something in the mix as well, but Danger and Darkness still leading the charge here with their points. Eliminations wise, Darkness is a little bit too far out, 700 plus, but Neon Rising still have Wizard, Ace, and Luick still have User in the mix. Ladies and gentlemen, the action doesn't stop here. So let's take a look at the overall leaderboard to now get a feel of what it's looking like going into the final game, and take a look at that. Ooh, Neon Rising are now in first place. AOD in second place with 69 points. Dream Team in third with 53. That chicken dinner puts them into a very, very solid position. COB are now with 50 points in the top four. Remember, all of these points matter to the finals, to the grand finals leaderboard. They absolutely matter. COB is a team that I don't think they made any super weekend, but 50 points is a big move. It's a very, very big move. Getting into the finals with 50 points. Lord knows how many points they can get, inside of the finals. But Luick is also there with 49, 3 Crown Esports with 43, and Dark Knights with 43 as well, tied all the way down, 4 portions with 42. And now Vortex 35, Foulplay 32, Harsh with 32 as well, Prothlees with 24, DS1 with 22, Ragnar with 20. Ragnar 4 points to get into the finals, DS1 2 points to get into the finals, Vanguard 10 points. Man, a lot of work to be done here, Fire.
Man, absolutely. I feel think everyone in that top 8 position is already saved. You say it would take a lot of work for any of those guys to drop down. So from 4P and above, I feel like they've already done enough work to make it into that finals already. Nothing's going to change for them. But guys like DS1, guys like UA, Vanguard. You never know. Like you said, UA could have such an incredible game, and at the end of the day, they will find themselves qualifying. They do have a chicken dinner, but from the way they played so far, it doesn't look like that is going to happen. But we'll find out. We'll find out when we come back from the break in Erangel if UA and the guys at the bottom will be able to shake things up and qualify on the last game of the night. We'll catch you guys soon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the party. It is the rain split. It is the survival stage, the last chance to get into the finals. And I'm here with Fire having a ball tonight, but we're down to the last game, Fire. Now,
Yeah, absolutely.
we've seen what it looks like. What are your predictions? What do
hmm
you think is going? Do you think everything is just going to stay the way it is, or is there still a chance for some diabolical to go down?
I think everything's going to stay the way it is. I don't think we're going to see any shake up. If we were going to see that, then we would see them pushing in that Sanhok game, but we didn't really see that. It would require some luck in that bottom half. You can see that early on in the game, a lot of those guys, all the way from 12th and below, had already gotten taken out. So it would be nice to see guys like Ragnar. I do to have a chance to do something, come in and perform a lot better in this game. It's always great to see some upsets, but we'll see. We'll see what that means. But speaking about seeing, looking at that flight path, moving all the way from that southwestern region, all the way to Novo. So teams that usually land between 7 years Naya would need to hop into a vehicle and start heading towards their favorite spot.
Yeah, yeah. Some people are not going to like this one. They are not going to like this one at all.
Yeah, obviously, several different teams. You can now see UA trying to head towards that region around Gatkar. You can see Vanguard around them too as well. Are we going to see some early fights going on around that region? It would be nice to see how that plays out. Several other teams also moving around that flight path. So it looks like some teams are, just deciding to, land around Ferry Pier. We might see something going down to at Primask. It does look like DT is hanging around that region around Quarry too as well. So we might see a skirmish between a couple of teams there. We also have a military base COB heading towards that region, and I do think they're with Neon. I'm not too sure, but I do think the COB is currently going to be landing with a team, and then we do know that we do have Ihachi Esports around Novo. So we'll see how that one continues to play out. Maybe some teams are going to make their rotations as outside this south region, but we already do see that the boys from Club of Ballers are heading into a fight up against Neon, and these are two teams that were going absolutely heavy in the previous one, but now Neon gets trapped with a quickness, and you can see Prox doing the Lord's work. But he takes down
Woo!
one, he takes down two, and gets that finish. And Neon has been doing incredible throughout today, and I've taken that number one spot, but now it looks like going toe to toe against Club of Ballers, they just can't stand the firepower.
I mean, you know, the funny thing is, we've seen this
Oh
tape
wait,
play out
last
a lot
guy,
of times. We've seen this
last
tape
guy.
play out a lot of times. Neon Rising usually don't get anything out of this. COB, they don't usually get any points out of this. They usually get, tossed aside. They usually get tossed
Mm,
aside by Neon Rising. We saw that the last time it was a 1 versus 4 from Wizard, but this time around, Progs, they're on fire right now. Neon Rising will lose too, but so will they. So it's all about, answering the right questions at this stage. And right now, things are not looking too good for pro athletes because it looks like a great will be called by Enjoy. Three Crown Esports did make a little bit of a substitution in, and they have brought in Enjoy. And now that is one for the books. DS1 have already lost a player. Fire. It's a little bit too early for DS1 to be losing players sitting in 13th.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. DS1 obviously is one of those teams that will be looking to see if they can take over the number 12 spot. So this definitely matters to them. If they do get pushed and they lose this particular fight, that will be the end for them in the MPL so far. So they will be making it through. So they currently are one of those teams that we can say, hey, they can't get eliminated right now. Same thing with Pro Leagues too as well. You can see the Pro Leagues are down to just two players, and it looks like Three Crowns is looking to see if they can make that push. Now, Three Crowns is in a pretty safe space, I think, but they're on that chase. You can see them just driving around Pro Leagues and looking to see if they can get that knock to come through. And will they be able to? And that, yes, they were able to
Oh,
do enough. And
pro
Proto Leagues
athletes
in
in
some
trouble.
danger right now.
Oh, they're in trouble right now, Fire. They're in major trouble. That's another one 3 times. It looks like they just brought in Enjoy to enjoy the guys from Pro League because that is 3 bodies. And Pro League is currently sitting in 12th. If they get eliminated now, there is nothing more they can do. They will not play in the Rain Split final unless DS1, Ragnar, Vanguard, and Unsullied Army lose out as well. And you can tell 3 Crown Esports, you know what they're doing right now. You know what they're doing. They're looking for pro athletes. They want to be the team that puts them out of the NPL. They want to be the team that want to look at them as they wave goodbye to the Rain Split. And this is just absolutely diabolical from 3 Crown Esports. This is a very, very harsh thing to do, but they are the ones doing it.
Man, absolutely incredible stuff coming through right there. As Protelites are currently in danger of losing that number 12 spot. They currently have 24 points, and just below them is DS1 with 22, and Ragnar 2 as well has got 20 points. I feel like between from number 12 all the way to 14, things can shake up, especially if the boys from Protelites get taken out too soon. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that and see how it evolves all the way on this other side too, as well as the boys from Loic. They've done enough. They've done enough to keep themselves in that top 12, but they're going up against another team that does need the points. It's TS1. Relax, and his boys have lost one player. They definitely will be hoping that, Loic doesn't push. And for now, it looks like everyone's just, you know, taking it pretty easy. We'll see what that means as things continue to evolve.
Well, well, well. A park and a park and more though. You know, we've seen a lot of strategies, applied for the most part, looking at some of these teams. But again, I would love to see something different. I would love to see things turn around. COB finally getting eliminated by Neon Rising, but this time, this has been the most difficult time they've got to deal with COB. And I think COB is they're just one of those teams that the more they play, the more they adapt. Because I've been seeing flashes of brilliance from the team, but they just get easily overpowered and they were getting easily
Mm,
overwhelmed, by the likes of Neon Rising, Tribe Warriors, Ecstasy. But the moment those teams, were no longer in the lobby, they started to, understand a little bit better, what they had to do, where they had to play out of, because the only thing that they were dealing with was landing on, teams. They were landing a lot on teams and they were losing players based off of the fact that they just didn't have enough intel on those positions and it cost them. But now, with this performance, they have surely made it into the finals and it's one for the books. But hopefully they will be able to keep this up inside of the finals as well because it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a very long day on that finals.
yeah, absolutely. They've done enough for themselves, so they can just get some rest and prepare for the finals. Because for me, they've done just enough to make sure that they can get themselves all the way there. No one is taking their spots. But several different teams will be looking to see if they can make it all the way into that finals. It's DS1 sitting down in 13th position. Protelites have it all to lose, of course, sitting down with 24 points. They're just two ahead of DS1, and they're down to just the one guy. So while these rotations are going on, this is one of those moments where things are a bit dangerous. Do you think that Hash Esports is in danger too as well? I mean, they're 32 points. Imagine if both DS1 and Ragnar have, amazing games. It could affect Hash too as well.
Yeah, it could, but again, you also have to consider the fact that Hash themselves also have to have a bad game.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That is
mm-hmm.
also what is important. So no matter how good Ragnar, DS1 or Vanguard, no matter how good their games get, it has to be better than whatever Harsh Esports can cook up. So that is also one of the things that you got to factor in. So you all can only worry about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
or if you want to take matters into your own hands, you look for the team and eliminate them, and then you make sure you don't leave it to chance. You make sure that, yeah, it's time. I'm getting it done. I'm sending this team back into the lobby. to make sure that they don't get any more points.
Yeah, absolutely amazing stuff coming through right there from a lot of these teams. As you can see, the rotations are now beginning to happen. Ragnar, UA is one of those teams that I feel like I'm not really sure what exactly I was probably expecting them. I know I'm definitely not expecting them to be in that number 16 spot. At least in this final game to be fighting for that position. I feel like Vanguard has even tried a lot more to see if they can get those points. They've made those pushes, but we'll see how things continue to evolve. Foul play is also in the mix of things right now with Ragnar. Now Ragnar, we've spoken about them. They're one of those teams that needs the performance, and we'll see this fight might just shape things up for them. This is the moment where they prove that they want this. How much do they want this, Priest? We're about to find out.
Ooh, this is going to be some special right now. Ragnar cannot afford to lose. They cannot afford to lose any players. Foul play trying to circle this one in, but PlayStation Zero is when takes a hit and he's going to be swept back into the lobby. They're trying to trade him on, and the rest of his teammates might decide to curve this one through into the other side. S12K into the other side as well. Ragnar, oh, they lose
Ooh,
out. Beautiful grenade from Souls,
oh,
and that will be two bodies. PlayStation 2 gets caught out as well by Noruka, and now it's down to one. Ragnar could just capitalize there. They could just make something happen as Alucard is over to the other side again, takes a couple more hits, tries to take it through, pressure on to the other side. Surely Alucard has to make something happen here. He has to hold it on, but Souls is there, gets the drop
yo.
on him, and Alucard has wasted too much time. He has wasted way too much time. He has allowed his teammates to go down. And what is he doing? Is he running away? There's no way. There's no way. He's running away? Oh my word.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's trying. It's trying. They,
That would have been
they
a
don't want to take.
four-piece. That would have been four eliminations for Ragnar. That would
Yeah,
have been four.
yeah.
Four
They wanna.
eliminations, 12th place. That is what it would have meant right now. But
Yeah,
Alucard ran away. He didn't even
yeah.
get
He should have
involved.
pushed in.
Man, nah, that is just preposterous, man.
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
sad for a team that wants to qualify to the finals. Nah,
Yeah,
man, nah, nah. You
yeah.
could have just
That's
taken the risk. You should have just taken the
that's
risk.
so sad,
You
man.
know, while Ruka was getting pushed up on, you should have supported him. Like, it's just unfortunate. It really is. That was a bad call from Alucard, man. That was a very bad call. They should have just he should have just seen it through. No, that was a bad call from Ragnar. Very bad call. Could have done so much better there. That guy was in the open. He was 1 HP. Worst case scenario is you could have tossed a grenade in there and let it knock both of them out. You
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
Let it knock both of them
Mhm.
out. Then, you come heal your teammate. But running away makes it even much more difficult because now you're a solo in the midst of squads everywhere. It's now
Mm.
10 times more difficult. There was a chance there he could have, gotten that finish, and then that would be four eliminations and a teammate still alive. That would be two bodies going into the next phase of the game. But now it's down to just him. The pressure now is like X4. It's crazy. It is so crazy. I expected way better from Alucard there, but it is what it is. I really hope he somehow makes it into the top six as a solo in this type of lobby.
Okay, okay. So here comes Vertex as well. Just like you said. I thought that Ragnar would do a lot better in that fight. Obviously, Alucard should have made that push, but it is what it is. Yeah, yeah. Maybe they could be fan favorites and be voted in because I feel like they still got something. I would love to see them. I mean, if people are voting and outsiders can vote, I'll vote for them. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
still
mean, voting
I
is
still would love to
voting
see.
is open to everyone, really. I would vote Ragnar as well, but
Yeah.
I don't know about Alucard though. Like, man, I don't
No,
know,
I mean
man.
in the competition he's played. I think like he's played okay. He's played good. He's one of those players that I've spotted, but just at this final moments,
Yeah,
maybe it's just
man.
nerves. Maybe it's just nerves. He's just
Yeah,
scared. It could also be the IGL. Maybe the IGL is saying, you know what, just get out of there. So
Nah,
you
yeah, that's just to show you. It's really about profiles. It really is about profiles because
Mhm.
the type of player that you are, the type of profile you are, it's just very, very important. Going into the final third, you always have to pay attention to the type of profile you have. And I
Wait,
think
so where has
Ragnar,
Enjoy been since? How come he's just enjoying himself?
yeah,
Like
they brought him in, they brought him in. They brought
my
him
man's
in.
on. My man is single-handedly, getting the most kills in this game.
Yeah, Three Crown Esports. They had him. I think they just wanted to unleash him in the last game and show everybody what they should expect in the finals.
Hmm. All right, so great stuff coming through right there. You can see Neon, who is currently sitting down in that number one spot. I feel like at this point, wow, what are those shots? My God. See, more and more, yeah, this player just make me feel like, you know what, just stick to Apex. Don't bother. Don't come back to PUBG. Because what's that? What hope do I have?
Well, Neon Rising about to show Harsh Esports where all the bodies are buried right now. Baby's up on just outside the compound again, trying to press this on that guy with the close up shot. Again, I don't know how. Oh, that's a good grenade. That's a very good grenade, but it's not enough. Again, I don't know how Harsh Esports are losing bodies inside of this place.
Hmm. Obviously, house spots have got to be really careful. Guys like DS1 could, come for their juggler in this one, but they might still finish in that top 12 regardless. And we'll see how this one continues to evolve. But if they go out quite early here, and teams at the bottom have a quite a good game. Remember, we talked about it before the game started. They might just lose their spot, but we'll see if they can do enough to just keep the boys from Neon at bay. They're in a 2v3 situation right now. Neon has lost two players. Beekeeper and Wizard have been taken out of the game, so this might provide some opportunity. But being out there in the open is probably not the wisest thing to do. But those return shots doing
Wow.
the work. But oh god, are they going to
Well,
really to before this? Are they going to really to before this? No, there's no way.
yo, like I just kept watching, man. I was really watching. Like, is this really how this is gonna play out? Because you just got to think about it. I remember watching even yesterday's stream. You were saying ain't no way it was happening, but you were saying ain't no way. You were saying ain't no way, but it was happening, bruh. MPL always kills me, dog. Like, for real, for real.
Oh
Now
god.
AOD, this will be the game where they will finally, win the chicken dinner, then finish up. Like, it's crazy, man. Yeah, someone said I'm crashing out in the chat. Why wouldn't I crash out? You guys saw that, man. That was because I'm rooting for them. That's why I'm rooting for. I was rooting for Ragnar. That's why it really hurt me. Hanshi Sports will be eliminated though. They'll go out in 11th now. I don't think Pro Leagues can catch up to them.
Someone
So I
said
think they'll be sitting pretty.
Balukad. Someone said Balukad. You guys are not
You
nice.
guys in the comments, this child is always killing me for
Oh
real.
my god.
Oh my
What the
days.
hell? Balukad. I mean, come on. It's just today. Maybe it was the IGL saying back up, back up, back up. You never know.
Yeah, but
Never
man,
know, bro.
but crazy scenes where he is also the IGL. You know, go fit talk now. You know, go fit talk, man.
Well, if that's the case, then yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, well,
but again, man, I just know so many. Like, I know so many other teams that would have gone for it one time. I guess maybe it's because
mm,
of the positions. I
mm,
think it's because of
mm,
the positions
mm,
they're in. That's why it just took away the sting out of it for a bit. But look at Vanguard though, 4 players up, phase three of the circle, edge,
mm,
southwest of the zone. I've seen this script before. I've seen this script before. Vanguard usually do well in a script like this. Remember, the goal for them would be at least 10 points. 10 points puts them in a very, very possible
yeah,
position in the finals.
yeah, definitely. But the team I'm looking at right now that could shake things up if they do get some points is actually DS1, their position right now. And that's the thing. If guys like Vanguard and DS1 do have very good games, Harshishbot might see themselves outside. So we'll be curious to see how this one continues to evolve. If those the guys that can really do it right now, DS1, Vanguard, I'm not really. I mean, UA would need you. If UA was gonna do it, we would have seen like some 4 or 5 kills right now. But anyways, they're I'm not sure. They do need a miracle. They do need maybe 10 kills. I don't know. And
Yeah.
giving them in a chicken dinner.
I mean, if we take a look at the zone right now, you can see Alucard in that northern side. The place was about to close out. And now Alucard, if he can make that mad dash into the northeastern side of the zone, this could mean something for him. But take a look at that zone. 2-2 split from Three Crown Esports. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. They usually, dominate in splits like this. And they have, you know, they have a enjoy now in the mix. So this could work out in their favor. But Dark Knights, if they can make an even better rotation than earlier, it could turn out into something special. But take a look at that Dream Team and Vanguard have started to lock horns here. Torrid goes down, and this is not what they were expecting today. It was an unfortunate
Ooh.
turnout, but Vanguard will lose one, and that numbers advantage they had starting to slip away. Dream Team now in the top three.
Yeah, Dream Team has had quite an amazing game so far with guys like Neon with just one player. But I feel like look, don't sleep on AOD, man. Those guys might just win this game. But now it's the two guys who are currently sitting down the number 2 and 3 position, going toe to toe against each other. Storm trying to rotate around, but he will not have the support of his teammates coming through, and they want this fight. They know at this particular time it's just all about getting the bodies dropped and getting those eliminations. The nade's flying through, and it does reduce his health. So it's going to back up just for a minute there while the rest of his teammates try to find a good position for themselves. That scouting Peter goes around, but he's got to be careful. Danger and Cole are trying to see if they can get one of them taken and down and knocked down. But down goes Jay, and things are now beginning to switch up here, Priest.
Yes, sir. Dark Knights on the other side and Dream Team on this side, all occupying the same thing, trying to work this out. But that's a beautiful grenade from Danger. He is the danger. He is the one who knocks. And Dream Team could be in trouble here. AOD might have their number and decide to dial it in. What a grenade from Danger again. The one who knocks. AOD, the angels
I
of
told
death,
you,
will visit
don't
Dream
sleep on
Team in the
them.
dead of night.
Don't
And
sleep on them.
dangerous. 6 eliminations, dangerous. And I'm not talking Michael Jackson water finish.
Imagine skipping a game and still coming back to win on the final to get that number 1 spot to the final. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, so great stuff coming through right as AOD showing us why they have been for the larger part of the survival stage in that number 1 spot and taking out DT. DT playing that one quite well, but not just enough to take out the boys from AOD. So far, DT and COB are out of the game. DC is still holding a full spot, but now we see the boys from Vanguard who definitely do need to put up quite a fight getting pushed. They have one of the players knocked down. Are they going to get taken out of the game right now and be eliminated? We already see the DS1 has been eliminated from the competition, but now the Dark Knights are looking to see if they can put the guys from Vanguard down. That revive has definitely come through. They've lost one of the players, and that nade flying, but not quite landing in that position. But here comes AOD with the third party, but down they would go. Solo just making sure that he continues to pile in the pressure.
Ooh,
But what a
well.
time.
So chaotic right now. This would have been a perfect
Hmm.
time for Vanguard to poke out of that box. This would be a perfect time for them to come outside right now and deal with all of these teams. Now take a look at Solo Cole between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, but he gets another knock. But the grenade this time
Oh,
from Vanguard will shut it down. And now that is a dangerous cut, a very dangerous cut. They need to deal with AOD. Surely they know that these guys have been knocked away, right? They surely know. They have to press forward. Vanguard, this
come
is your
on,
chance.
go
This is your
there.
opportunity. Why are you
What are
playing so
you
slow?
doing?
There's no Intel, boogie's
What are
outside. Get the
you
first
doing?
drop. Opportunity for Vanguard. And
Oh,
unfortunately, in all of that, they get nothing.
oh
Luick
my
take
goodness.
it away from them. And now a chicken dinner is the only course of action. But Three Crown Esports are still very much alive.
Man, this is absolutely crazy. I was thinking to myself that they were going to, get those extra kills, but I mean they were basically saved by. I mean, I'm just gonna call them their sugar daddies right now because honestly, at that point in time they were gonna get taken out by Dark Knights, but AOD came in and rescued them in that position, and they could have just gotten those free kills. Could have gotten those free
Ooh.
kills, but now we turn our sights onto the boys from UA. Now this will be really dangerous for them, but they're going up against just one player, and it's Pro Man. They came into this with a two-man squad, but those nades are currently flying. But he's got to be careful. He's got the zone to fight with. At the same
He's
time, he
holding a
drops that one.
Molotov. He's holding
Oh
a
Lord!
Molotov. Oh my
Oh
god. He
Lord!
was
What's
holding a
going on here?
Molotov.
What is this? There's no way.
Roman
There's no way one guy. No, no way. There's no
Reigns.
way. There's no way. That's not how you go
Roman
out of
Reigns. Four
MPL.
portions.
No.
The
No.
final blow. Unsullied Army
No.
dead in the night. And that is how you get it done. Roman putting the final blow to
You're
Unsullied
kidding me,
Army.
man.
And that is an unfortunate scenario there. Three Crown Esports have a sightline there. We saw Ragnar get eliminated in 5th place.
Oh my
But I
god.
don't know if they've done enough. I don't know. Vanguard as well did get dropped off. Unfortunate positions right now for 4 portions. But right now, all of these teams, it is now a matter of the points. Three Crown Esports playing a big split, holding the library hostage. And it looks like this could be their game. The ever elusive chicken dinner for them. This could be the game.
Yeah, definitely. They it does look like, I mean, they have the numbers, they have the position. Everything is working in the favor. You can see that there's a 60% chance of them getting that chicken dinner. A couple of those other teams are outside that zone. Of course, you can see 4P who Pro Man had that amazing wipe just now against the boys from UA, but they will need something special if they're going to take on the spot away from 3C. If I was in this situation, Pro Man, just stay outside the zone, just bleed out, and because there's no hope at this point. Yeah, there's really none. Just bleed out. That should just
Wow.
be the game. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what he would do there. I can't blame him though. But
Mm-hmm.
Vortex still have a man alive. We're gonna be the job done
Yeah,
there and not
absolutely.
commit. And Vortex will have a man down as well. Three Crown Esports chicken dinner, well deserved, well orchestrated, well done as well. Things are going to get even much more proactive for them in this final third, but well deserved. Three Crown Esports coming out on top and getting themselves that chicken dinner. So Quilla was the problem. Quilla was the problem. Was Quilla the problem?
I
Well,
mean,
looks like because if this is the first game Quilla doesn't play and they get a chicken dinner, I mean,
yeah, and
says
then
something
they replaced him with
with
Enjoy,
enjoy.
getting a lot of joy with 5 eliminations. I mean, great stuff coming through from him. You can see the amount of damage that he got, so he continued to pile on that pressure. So obviously, great stuff. And this is the time that they have now gotten themselves that chicken dinner. But it'd be curious to see on the entire leaderboard if any one of those other teams was able to make it up. But Three Crowns going head to head, you can see them getting 8 eliminations and up against the boys from Lewick. Now Lewick went out. I do think they went out early. If I okay, actually no, they survived for a long time. But you can see 18 points from the boys from Three Crowns, racking up those points that, like you said, will definitely count for them in the finals. So that's definitely what we're looking forward to. We'll see how things shaped up, and if any one of those. But do you think any one of them made it in, Chris?
Well, we're about to find out, but 5 eliminations.
Hmm.
Enjoy the MVP. Well deserved. Did an amazing job and closed that down. Three Crown Esports finally getting an MVP in the mix here, trying to hold this down. A beautiful performance from Three Crown Esports. Enjoy was in the cut again to get it done. and we love to see every minute of it. Hopefully, he plays in the finals. Hopefully, he puts in that work, what we've seen, and then we can see them do more of the same in the finals. That is where all roads lead to now.
All right, great stuff coming through from all of these teams. You can see them. I do think I can't wait for the finals because I do feel like it's going to be a huge spectacle from a lot of these teams. Several different teams are going to step things up. Neon, Angel of Death. I can't wait to see how they're going to perform. Even 3C. I feel like if Enjoy continues to play like this and he is the one that they choose in the finals, then yes, we might see them battling it out. Teams are going to be going head to head against each other. But guys like DS1, Protolis, Hash Esports, not able to put on those performances to move themselves all the way into that top 12. Now, I'm not really sure
Yo,
about the math. Look at
yo,
right now, 5 points. Is it enough? Is it
I
enough?
don't I don't know because
Hmm.
Pro Athletes didn't get any points. They didn't get any
Yeah.
points. So that is where it's dangerous.
Hmm.
I think they needed exactly 5 points, but I'm not sure because DS1 and Vanguard also got 3 points. Again, I'm not sure how that went down. Dark Knights, Angels of Death, 7, 8 points on the cut. Neon Rising, unfortunately, did make out 5 points. I think with that, AOD just couldn't reach up to Neon Rising in
I
top
think
one. So
Ragnar
Neon
made it
Rising finished
made
over,
it
but
in.
I'm not sure. Like
I
Dream
think they
Team,
did. I
three
think they
points.
did.
Vanguard also got some points. So again, we're not sure because Harsh Sports also didn't get any points. So it depends on how many they got
Yeah,
and
I
owing
think
to the
they
fact
did.
that
I think
Hershey
they did.
Sports didn't get any, but we'll see for ourselves into the final third. But take a look at that. Your MVPs, Darkness finishing strong, 20. Danger with 19. In second place, User with 16. In third place, Neon Rising with also have Wizard in here with 15 and Ace with 16 for portions. Now, these are the performances I want to see in the finals. I want to see Wizard, I want to see User, I want to see Ace, I want to see Danger, I want to see Darkness. I want to see them cooking. I want to see them cooking in this game, and that is what I'm going to be looking forward to. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the overall leaderboard. The top 12 teams that will be in the rain split final are about to show up on your screens. The bottom four,
Ragnar made
Ragnar,
it. Ragnar made it.
they
I
did
told
do it.
you.
They
They
did
did
do it.
just
Ragnar with
enough.
1 point.
Okay.
Alucard, my bad, dog. I
Okay.
didn't know you had
Okay.
it in you like
Okay.
that. Alucard, I did not know you had it in you like that. Forget everything I said. Alucard is really him as a solo player. He believed he would be able to get them at least those placement points that they needed, and they
Mm.
were perfectly done. 25 points. That means Proth leads DS1, Vanguard, and Unsullied Army will not play in the rain split finals of the Nigerian Pro League Season 8. Neon Rising and AOD tied on points, 77 apiece in that final third. But unfortunately, these four teams will now be relegated to potentially the fans' favorite voting. So, at the end of the rain split, when all of the points have been collated, we will now have our fans' favorite. But most likely, we're going to see, DS1 and Vanguard and Prothletes in there. So, start getting your voting cards ready, ladies and gentlemen, and make sure you follow on all social media platforms once the voting starts. Fire, were you not entertained? I mean,
Yeah.
last game, I
Absolutely.
you said it.
Absolutely.
You were not sure if anything was
Absolutely.
gonna change, but Ragnar,
Yeah.
they fought tooth and nail and they made it happen for
I swear, I
themselves.
swear. I mean, great stuff coming through from them. I mean, they could have done better, but there was that scare. So it means at the end of the day, I mean, the decision from Aluka was probably the right one. Just be careful. Just pull back, and hopefully they'll perform better when they get to the finals. But amazing stuff coming through. It's lovely to see all this kind of upsets. This final game, Proton is just Yeah, they
Yeah.
just crashed out.
I
But
mean,
great
I
stuff.
mean, it was more about Three Crown Esports, because those guys that were looking out for Pro 3 started eliminating them very, very early, and they started to cost them the game, forcing them into a solo man, and all of these things started to cascade, and just unfortunate that Pro 3 just couldn't make it. It's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's part of the game. Some people will never make it. Some people will just be serving dinner to the students, and that's unfortunate for them. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of tonight's broadcast. The next time you see us, it will be the finals, the Rain Split finals, 3 days of action, 15 matches, all encompassing the best players Nigeria has to offer. It is the NPL. Big shout out to Monster 1080 for bringing you these action. Big shout out to Fire, my man. He's always in the cut and he's always active. We'll see you again in the finals. Also, big shout out to production. Wisery Sports always cooking, always Turner Link in the background. Love you guys. See you in the finals, baby.
All right, see you then.